Welcome to this video about our kindergarten through 5th grade return in person. We will have 3rd grade returning to in-person on Monday, March 29th, 4th grade on Thursday, April 1st, and then 5th grade on Monday, April 5th. And with that comes new arrival and dismissal procedures that for everyone to be aware of, as well as some entrances that are different than what you might have experienced last year, pre-COVID. And so I'm going to create this video for you to be able to follow so that we can all work together to help keep our distancing, keep our school safe, and keep our school open. So as I go through these slides, I want to go over just the daily health attestation screening process that we require and please use prior to your child arriving to school, the daily schedule of what this looks like for AM, PM, safety measures that we currently have in place, arrival and dismissal times and procedures, because those are all staggered based on the type of transportation and the means in which your child will be arriving to school or leaving school, what it looks like in the classroom, some key points that we've learned over time, and should you have any questions, who to contact. So first of all, taking care of yourself before school, just so you know that in order for our school to remain open and healthy, we need that everyone before school to make sure that if there's any temperatures over 100 degrees, or if you have COVID-like symptoms, to please stay home. At school, if any child starts to feel ill, they will be taken to a safe, we call it a safe place. It's a wellness room, and that's where we will be checked out by, the children will be checked out by staff members, and they may be sent home if there's any symptoms demonstrated or a temperature of 100 or higher. And if kids are ill, we ask that you please seek medical attention and care and have them stay home until they're healthy to return, and or we have a doctor's note. The daily health check is something that's really important because that's what we use to make sure that everyone is safe and as healthy as possible, and it's also part of what we use for attendance. So it's to be completed daily. We ask that you do it before your child arrives to school. It's to be completed for each child each day, and it's based on their last name and student ID number. So there's a website that you can bookmark. We also will send you a text message every morning as a reminder. But when you get to the site, you would click on the student health check. From there, you'll see where you'll enter your student's last name, their student ID number, click that you're not a robot. You would verify. So for example, for me, I would type in my last name, and this is an example of a student ID number potentially. Once you verify, you'll see that you have to review this list of any symptoms that might be experienced by your child that day. These are questions that you'll want to answer, and if you've had a positive COVID test within the last 10 days, and then once check any of these that they apply, and or if none of these apply, then you just check this part at the bottom, and then we receive information that you've completed that. There's also a way for you to download this as an app. So if you went to Safari and went to the website, you could tap on the screen where this icon is. You could choose Add to your home screen on your phone, then tap Add. So right here, you would want to set it to your home screen, add to your home screen, tap Add, and then you'll see it up here as almost like a shortcut or an app. Daily schedule. Students will start school from 9 to 11:30, but the arrival and dismissal times are different. So this is when technically we are starting, and House B would be from 1 to 3:30. So there are 2 sessions. In between these 2 sessions, we all clear campus, and that is when all the classrooms are disinfected by our custodians to kill all the germs and so forth in between sessions. So we don't have any other times where there's in-person services happening, and staff have been, for example, not even in the building mostly during these times because they eat lunch in their car, get a fresh break from wearing a mask all day. But anyways, when your child's not at school, they will be asked to please complete their asynchronous learning, and they will also have their specialists, art, music, library, and PE during those times. So if students are arriving in the morning, when they go home, they'll have their specialists and some assignments to complete. If they're arriving in the afternoon, in the morning they'll have their specialists and assignments to complete. Again, it's important to complete the health screening prior to entry. Must be done before they arrive to school. And then when kids do arrive at school, we'll be greeting them and they will be entering the school based on their designated areas, because we are responsible for making sure that we're checking for symptoms and also checking for masks. We do have them provided if your child needs one, and hand sanitizing to keep them healthy. And then also, this is a time where we have to practice everything we can in the event we were to have to contact trace. So every classroom is assigned a certain entrance, and students will be assigned to stay in their cohort or their classroom as a group, and there will be limited cross-cohort crossing, if you will, but because we always have to be able to trace where kids were at which time. So there's also individual bathroom assignments and so forth. So we'll talk more about that later on. But if there's any temperature that we take at the beginning of the day that's 100 or higher, students will be taken to the wellness room to receive a duplicate temperature check, just to make sure that we are checking our bases. And if they do in fact have a temperature, we'll have to call you to have them picked up immediately. It is a space that's utilized for isolation in the event there are symptoms or signs of symptoms, and we recommend hand washing throughout the day. If students don't have a health check, then there are times where we will have them go to the cafeteria where there's distancing, greater distancing, until we get that health check completed. Some good habits to introduce to your children, if they haven't already, is to wear their mask. So they have to wear their masks at all times in school, unless you have a medical note from your doctor. So we also ask that you put an extra mask in a Ziploc bag in their backpack that they can keep with them at all times in the event they sneeze and it gets all wet or something. So we're going to ask them to also practice washing their hands, maintaining physical distance. Right now it is 6 feet until further notice from our school board and directors based on the current governor's adoption of the CDC rules. So that has not changed. So we're still operating under the 6-foot minimum as much as possible. And we just appreciate any support that you can provide in keeping our school open, because the more we can practice these mitigating measures, the longer we can keep our school open, which is what we want. And we are not allowed to allow visitors, volunteers, or anyone in the building other than BSD staff. So there is a limit on how many people can be in the building based on that information. This is where the assigned arrival times and entrances are super important. They are staggered based on mode of transportation for AM and PM. It's a little bit different. So up here, if you look, the buses are typically arriving at about 8:40 a.m. And again, they arrive here at 12:50 p.m. So you'll see that in the morning, bussers come first. Then if kids are coming by car, we ask that you try to arrive around 8:50. If children are walking, we ask that they try to arrive around 8:55, and we will start right at 9. That being said, our doors will all start to open at 8:45. So the idea is to get a steady flow of kids coming in the school in waves, so that they just report straight to their classroom, go straight to their seat, they get their temperature taken, and then the day starts. The same is true for the afternoon, except for the afternoon we ask that if you're arriving by car, you would come first before the buses arrive, and then walkers are last. So this is the arrival plan that we ask you to please follow as much as possible, because it helps us space out and eliminate as much standing around or lingering or close distancing as possible. So that is that piece. And here you'll see color coded. So going in rainbow order, we have our kindergarten entering through their kindergarten outside doors. Orange is our first grade entering through their exterior doors, with Mrs. Friesen entering over here by the tetherball door. So if this is the front of the school, you'll see over here on the side, this is where Mrs. Friesen's class will go. Then going to second grade, we have Mr. Friesen and Mrs. Nova's class entering on this side door by our bike rack. Second grade, Mrs. Rammergarten entering her exterior door. Going to third grade, we have Mrs. Abbott here at the side and Mrs. Frederick here at the front. And that class would just go straight up the stairs, down the hallway to their classroom, Abbott's going to go up these back stairs straight to her classroom. Going to 4th grade, we have Grayson also entering on the side entrance, and Mrs. Ropish entering over here in the front. And going to 5th grade, we have all 5th graders entering in this front entrance. So in this front entrance, we're going to ask that, or all these entrances, we're going to ask that kids stand on the red eagles. We have little spray painted eagles where kids can stand as markers to stay physically distanced until it's time for them to come in and or while they're waiting to come in. So there's also markers in the hallway to keep the distancing and so forth. So that is the arrival process, and we are only allowing people to arrive at the entrances that they've been assigned, and that people would be the kids. Again, there's no adults allowed in the building except for employees. So adults also, we ask that you try to keep a distance from our teachers and the classrooms to help with mitigating safety procedures. Now dismissal is very different in terms of the staggered. Up here at the top, you'll notice that we are dismissing with oldest all the way down to youngest. And so the reason being is because our buses have to load from oldest to youngest. And so this shows the order in which classrooms will be dismissing their kids. So first we will have our 5th graders at 11:20. They will leave their classrooms. They will exit this wing, walk down the main hallway, drop any students off at the Boost or childcare program, and then drop their kids off at the bus, and then go over to a waiting area, which I'll cover in a second. So that's going to happen at 11:20 and 3:20. So 10 minutes before we get out, we've learned we have to get this waves of dismissal going. So if you're a 5th grade parent, this is the time in which you'll want to pick up your child. 4th grade, you'll see about 2 minutes later, we give some space there for 4th grade to exit. Then 2 minutes later, 3rd grade will exit at the 24 mark of 11:24 or 3:24. Next will come 2nd grade at 11:26 and 3:26, and then 1st and kindergarten at the 11:28 mark. So that is how we are operating in waves to help keep everybody socially distanced, because when you get a class size of 9 to 14, 6 feet apart, it creates some backlogging. So we need to space this out in order for everyone to be able to socially distance and physically distance in the hallways. Now, staging wise, you'll notice that there are pickup spots. So if you are picking up by car, these are labeled A all the way through I now. Up at A, you'll see Biker and Jason Friesen's class standing in this area. And then it will go to Ray and Reimergarten, then Ryson, then Ropish, Wilson, Hess, Friesen, Abbott, and Frederick. So with kindergarten standing by the flagpole. And there are spray painted eagles all along this way for kids to stand on. And again, this is the planned pickup time. So the more we can have you all work in these waves, the better. And what will happen is we ask that you remain in your car. Parents pull up, just as we have done in the past, coming around this way with your car. You would pull up to the front spot, and when you see your child's teacher, give them a hand, give them a wave, they'll wave back, and then your child will walk in the space to get to the car as soon as possible. So that is how we're operating. So if you are a walker or anyone picking up your child, make sure you get eye contact with the teacher. Signal is the wave to each other, and then your child will be released to meet you. Here's a close-up of an example of physical distancing. So there are these little eagles. It's almost a campus of measles now, with these little red dots all over, but there are these eagles that help students of where to stand while waiting. And so just wanted to share that with you. So again, please just remember to follow the staggered arrival and dismissal pickup times. Do not drop off earlier than these designated transportation times, because we will not have supervision on campus and we need to keep kids as safe as possible. And if you are on campus with your child, please help them, and as well as you, encourage that 6-foot distancing from others and make sure everybody's masked up, because it's important that we all stay healthy and keep the school open. So again, doors will open at 8:45 and 12:45. The crosswalks are not patrolled. We're not allowed to have students doing that job anymore. So they are not patrolled. So if you do have a child using a crosswalk, just know that we do have someone visually as an adult watching those, but they're not out there like we have been able to staff in the past. So they're more as a visual check, but should we see an increase in walkers using the crosswalks, we'll have to adjust that. But again, just make sure that you're not dismissing your child on campus before their assigned arrival time, and make sure that they know which entrance to use. Also, if for some reason your child arrives late, you'll want to call our front office and we will buzz you in. There's a whole new entrance now, so there's no getting in the front entrance. It's a locked vestibule, if you will, for safety. So once your child arrives, let our office know. There's also a doorbell at the front door, but you can contact us and we'll open those doors and let them in, but we're not allowed to let you in. During the day, in order to keep all the kids safe, we are, again, practicing every measure of safety that we can. And if for some reason you need to pick up your child early, please call the front office and we'll have your child, we'll get a visual check that you're outside and then we'll have your child come meet you. And also, if you have any emergency items to drop off, such as medication for their individual health care plan, maybe they forgot their laptop or their iPad, which we're supposed to have on site just in case for uploading or updating any system information that they may need, or explaining any information that they might need for their asynchronous learning. Go ahead and park, contact the main office, let us know that you have something to drop off. We have a table that you can set it on, or you can set it by the door and then we'll come and get it. So that's just something that to be aware of, and we have a doorbell there, so we do hear when you arrive, just can't let anybody in. Also, assigned bathrooms. Children will have assigned bathrooms to use, so each class we're trying to keep 3 classrooms assigned to at least 1 bathroom, and the urinals have been taped off in between each other to help with the physical distancing, as well as the stalls. So the stalls, typically the stall in the middle has been taped off for kids not to be able to use, and we are limiting 2 students in a bathroom at a time. We have hallway monitors that are helping with that during that student time. So teachers know which restrooms they are assigned to, and so they will explain this to the students, but just wanted to let you know that is how that's working. Again, it's all for contact tracing. This is an example of what the classrooms currently look like. They are physically distanced. Some classrooms have single little islands like this, if you will, and other classrooms have pairs of desks, which are an AM side and a PM side. But again, in between each AM and PM session, our custodians are using some really heavy-duty sanitizing spray that kills everything in contact. And we are not allowed to share materials, so students will have their own materials at their desks. And we also have to give a 24-hour rest period in between paper products. And if it's a hard surface, it's 72 hours. So lots of rules for us to follow to help keep students and staff safe and our schools open. Hand sanitization is something else that's spread throughout the school. So we have hand sanitizer at every entering point when kids enter. We also have them at the classrooms. That's what they will use should they go outside. They have to wash or hand sanitize their hands before or after. So it's probably a good idea for you to get used to helping your child apply lotion at night if you can, because I'm sure their hands will start to get a little bit more dry. But we have plenty of that. And then also something unique to Bellevue is that the minute COVID hit last spring, Bellevue School District went in and replaced all the HVAC systems. So our HVAC systems are now, they were hospital quality before, but now they're installed in the sense of the air cycle is for each individual space and room instead of being shared. So that is something else that is different and unique to Bellevue. Thankfully, we have the resources and the community support for that. So thank you for passing those bonds and levies for that use. But just so you know, the airflow is replaced and all drinking fountains have been shut off because of safety measures. But the air quality is also something that we have CO2 readings to monitor the measurements of outside air and inside air and flow. And so we are operating on a really healthy air system right now. And so that's nice to be able to report, unlike some districts who don't have that luxury. Signage, children will see signage all over the place. Ways to stop the spread of germs. There's stand here marks. This is an example of the eagle that I talked about that we've spray painted all over campus. There's designated sites for entering and exiting. This is an example of the new entrance that was built, a vestibule. So that's for future safety, but also just to make sure that we are all practicing the safe practices that we need to do and check in for health attestation upon arrival for staff. This is an example of the markings in the hallways and the stairs of how it's divided to help keep kids 6 foot distance apart. We do have a wellness room also where we wear special PPE or personal protective equipment should any child have any symptoms or show signs of symptoms or not feel well. Meals, we are not providing meals. However, if your child has a specific accommodation in an individualized healthcare plan, a 504 or an IEP, unless they do, please do not send a snack because we are not allowed to technically eat right now with our masks off. And again, the drinking fountains have been disabled, but something that's pretty cool is our PTSA is purchasing water bottle stations for the future. So really excited about that because that'll be a easier way to contain germs just in general. So excited about that. So thank you, PTSA. And if kids do want to bring a water bottle, they can. They'll just be asked to step outside the classroom to drink it or during their outside break. So outside break, some teachers have found that that works for their class. Others, they just take a break inside the classroom. So we do provide a 10-minute break for kids in that short time that they're at school. And additional safety rules, just so you know that we have at our school all sorts of roles and responsibilities that have been assigned based on the requirements and for coordination and communication. So we do have a school COVID-19 coordinator, which is often administrators. So that would be Mr. Hagan and I this year, who oversee everything. We have attestation and attendance specialists that will reach out to you should you forget to do your health attestation. We have building infection control leads. We have a wellness room coordinator, contact screeners, family contact leads, and lots of verification and planning leads. So we have a safety team that makes sure that we have everything in place each week or problem solves should something arise. So there's lots behind the scenes that has happened to help make this possible. So the more you can work with us and partner with us in keeping your child masked up, safe, healthy, home when needed, and filling out those health attestations and helping us with the waves of the flow of traffic, the more we can work together. Wellness room, again, we do have a wellness room that we've designated. Should any child have any symptoms, a fever, they will be escorted to that wellness room where we will check and make sure that they have completed initial screening. And most often, that's when parents are notified to pick up their child should there be a need. And we will communicate the next steps needed if a child does have symptoms based on our CDC and King County Department of Health requirements. So should a child have a fever, we'll follow up with you on what's required by us for them to be able to return and the timeline for that. If you do have anyone in your family that develops symptoms, please don't send your child to school. Just let us know. We'll have nurses that in our district that are practicing the contact tracing and checking in and helping keep everybody healthy and safe as possible. If anybody's diagnosed with COVID-19 in your house or you travel outside the state, we have specific regulations that we are to follow in that practice. So that has been updated. It's on the district website under frequently asked questions. Also, asynchronous learning opportunities will be available during your child's asynchronous time. That could include freckle, lexia, maybe an assignment that your teacher has assigned your child or their specialist as well. We are trying to explore options for minimizing instructional loss if and when your child has to quarantine. That has become a little bit tricky, but we are getting more and more creative as we learn these new processes and procedures. So we will try to work with you as much as we can if and when quarantine is needed. And specialist classes, again, those are occurring During the asynchronous time, those are still important for your child to participate in and engage in because they learn important skills that will help them as they progress in their grades. And again, the new schedule for these classes will begin when each grade returns to in-person. So on Monday, March 29th, when grade 3 returns, you'll see new specialist classes on your child's calendar during their asynchronous time. The same is true for 4th grade on April 1st and 5th grade on April 5th. So that will be a change in their schedule. You can prepare your child for their return by making sure that they know to wear their mask over their nose, not under, and making sure that they practice good hand hygiene, the physical distancing, and just making sure that they're always practicing that distancing is important. And please feel free to watch this presentation with your child or go through this information with them so that they understand the importance of mask wearing, socially distancing, and washing their hands and keeping their hands clean so that they stay healthy and they keep other classmates and staff healthy as well so we can keep our school open. So a little bit about masks. This is the recommended mask information and the not recommended. So over here you'll see medical procedural masks, sometimes referred to as surgical masks that are disposable. Those are okay. Masks that fit snugly around the nose and chin, no large gaps at the side of the face. That's also important. Breathable fabrics such as cotton. Those that are tightly woven fabric, so maybe they don't let light pass through, or I know the test is you shouldn't be able to blow out a candle with a mask on. And masks that have 2 or 3 layers and masks with inner filter products. What's not recommended are those that don't fit. So sometimes kids will wear masks that are too big for them and they'll fall down, so we'll have to give a replacement. So make sure that their mask is fitting around their nose and mouth with no gaps. Also, any materials that are not breathable, such as plastic or leather, that is not going to be easy for your child to breathe, so please don't use those kind. Or on the other side, if there's masks that have loosely woven or knitted fabrics that are not, that light can pass through, that is not said to be protective for them. Masks with 1 layer is something that's not recommended, and masks with exhalation valves or vents are also not recommended because that is just putting the germs out through the ventilation, and wearing a scarf or a ski mask is also not recommended. So please help with your child's mask. If you need help with masks, please let us know. We can arrange that for your child. What are kids required to bring? So your teachers will be communicating what they need you to bring, but the minimum is make sure that they have an extra mask in a Ziploc bag in their backpack, because that's important to have a backup, we've found. Also, the device that's been checked out to them, whether it's the iPad or the laptop, make sure that they're bringing that charged each day. A water bottle with their name on it is always helpful, but please do not bring snacks, toys, or anything else not needed for instructional time. We are trying to maximize the instructional time as much as we can because we do only have them in person for that 2.5-hour window. So the most we can get in, the better it is. So thank you for helping in this situation. And if you're looking for childcare still, just know that Boost is a childcare program sponsored by the Bellevue School District that is on site at Woodridge. So not every school has that, but we do. You can visit bsd405.org programs/ELP for more information on Boost. The hours go from 7:30 to 5, and there are tuition rates that are stated right here for K through 5, but there are also opportunities for scholarships. Right now, kids do eat in Boost, and there's a lunch plan that they follow, and communication comes from Boost for that. So everything Boost related is a separate program and runs through the directors and the site supervisors in that program. We do partner with them, but it is something that if you have questions about Boost, it's best to contact them. And so if you haven't gotten registered and you need to get registered, that's an option. And I guess key things to remember: complete that daily health attestation, keep students at home if they have symptoms, pack an extra mask, bring all the assigned needs from your teacher and a charged laptop daily. Do not pack food or unnecessary items, and you can pack a water bottle if you'd like. So we're looking forward to seeing everyone. And again, third grade starts on March 29th. Fourth grade starts on April 1st, and that is no April Fool's joke. Fifth grade will start on April 5th. And again, if you have any questions, please reach out, because we are here to partner with you and help work with you in this process, because these are unique times in this pandemic. So again, my name is Nicole Hepworth. I'm the principal at Woodridge, working with our assistant principal, Mr. Hagan, our admin intern, Dongmei Tan, and then our office manager, Lori England, and also our office assistant, Chiwa Matsumura. And also, if you have a student who has expressed any anxieties during this time that we should be aware of, or any social emotional needs, please let us know, because we can also connect them and you with our school counselor, Ms. Myers, to help with that. So we have worked with some kids who are hypersensitive to germs or being exposed or touching, and have had extra worries with that. So we've worked in providing them basically information on what we're doing behind the scenes to help keep our schools safe. So whatever we can do to partner with you and help your child feel successful during this in-person time, please reach out and let us know. And otherwise, thank you for helping partner with us and following all these guidelines and regulations and so forth. It's not that we don't trust you, it's that we want to really keep our school open. And so please, thank you for helping and following, and just doing your best to arrive at the designated times and pick up at the designated times to help with that flow. So again, thank you so much, and we're excited for in-person return, and we look forward to seeing you soon. All right, thank you.